Brett McGurk is a partner in Lux Capital, a VC firm which began investing in Israeli defense companies after the genocide started. Here's Lux co-founder Josh Wolf being racist about Zohran Mamdani, and here he and Brett McGurk are with MBS. That's what CNN is paying for. Josh Wolf, hell no to this hateful jihadi. A privilege to celebrate Founding Day with His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman plus Lux Venture Capital Brett McGurk. MBS and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia are taking a key role in diplomacy on all key conflicts. Good reasons to expect very good things coming. Yeah, the scary anti-Semite Zohran Kwame Mamdani, as opposed to guy who probably has not so favorable opinions on Jews, but is definitely a reliable ally to Israel, MBS. But do you agree that CIA and Mossad use Epstein to blackmail people through honeypots for Israel's benefit? I don't think it's just for Israel's benefit. I think we unfortunately will never know until maybe like 50, 60 years in the future. But we most likely will not know for the time being what the benefits were. But if you think that it's just for Israel, you're wrong on that too. It's a shared asset. But it's an oversimplification to think that Epstein was just working at the behest of Israel. It's not wrong to say that. It is 100% correct to say that Jeffrey Epstein absolutely was working alongside, in tandem with Israel's interests. Okay? That much is true. But to assume that this is a sophisticated pedophilia blackmail operation exclusively for Mossad, exclusively for Israel's interests would be wrong. Especially considering, hey, no barking. What are you barking at? Hold on.
Intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon,
it.
and that's more than enough.
Okay. I want to ask you on the policy front. There are personnel throughout the Middle East from the United States, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, and other bases. If those countries are attacked by Iran because of their association with the United States, will the United States defend them?
Well, that's exactly why they're there. That's a great point, actually. Do you know why we have bases in Bahrain and Qatar and UAE and all these places? All of those bases are there because those countries are afraid that Iran will attack them. If Iran was not a threat to the region, if the Iranian regime, because I'm talking about the Iranian people, the regime was not a threat to the region, we wouldn't have to have any of these bases. Those bases are there because those countries are petrified that that the Iranian Shia clerics that run that country will attack their countries.
Will the United States
defend them? As you know, they've got a very difficult history. Well, that's why we're there. That's why we're there.
So
but
yes, we will defend them.
Is what they're threatening to do. So we'll defend our people, obviously. We'll defend our people. Well, they'll attack our bases, and those are our bases, and we're going to defend our personnel, and we're prepared to do that. But we'll do more than just defend. We'll impose costs on Iran if they attack American personnel, whether they do it directly or whether they do it through some of these proxies that they try to hide behind, and that includes the Houthis. Yeah. So another proxy of theirs. So, but let's hope they don't choose that route. Let's all hope that they actually decide, okay, let's go negotiate, because we want a diplomatic and peaceful solution. We have achieved our objectives. We're ready to negotiate this in a peaceful, diplomatic way. We've been prepared to do that for days. They are the ones that played games, as they have done for 40 years, as they have done to multiple presidents. They tried to play games with President Trump, and they see what happens. This is not a game-playing president. When he says he's going to do something, he will do it.
I hear you saying here you want to de-escalate when you are talking about diplomacy. You are looking for Iran to pick up that offer that was put on the table you mentioned by Steve Witkoff. Can you just clarify, does that mean the U.S. would still allow for Iran to have a civilian nuclear program if it does not enrich on its own soil?
But that's never been an issue. There's countries all over the world that have a civil nuclear
that's still
program. No one here is saying that Iran can't. Sure, that's always been there. Any country in the world has a right to have a civil nuclear program. What they don't have a right to do is to enrich it at 60%, hide it under a mountain, and develop long-range and short-range and mid-range missiles and sponsor terrorist proxies all over the world. They don't have a right to do that. And that's what they've been doing. And no one's dealt with it. And it's continued to linger. And they've played games with multiple presidents and multiple countries around the world, and they've gotten away with it for 40-something years. This is very simple. The president wants to resolve this diplomatically and peacefully. He gave them a chance to do that. They delayed. They had all.
This kind of gaslighting is so fucking funny, dude. Like, oh, dude, countries all around the world have civil nuclear programs. Like, what do you mean? But we just don't want Iran to have one, They do have a right to build missiles. Yeah, of course they have a right to fucking build missiles. And also, America's steady intervention in the region is the reason why they fucking spend so much on their missile defense. Have you analyzed the Epstein situation on stream? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Have I? Oh, have I? Extensively. Back in the day. Old heads remember my YouTube channel almost got fucking entirely blacklisted because I stupidly uploaded a 9-hour Jeffrey Epstein analysis stream in its entirety to my YouTube channel. And then the next video I uploaded after that got like 10 views. And I very quickly deleted the video. I have since then done more coverage on it, but literally the next day, the video that came after that was it had like 10 views. I couldn't believe it.
All these kind of delay tactics. They wouldn't even meet with us directly. We had to go through third countries. This is very simple. Let's meet directly. Let's work on agreements that are good for Iran, good for the Iranian people in particular, good for the safety and security of the world and the United States. That's always been our preference. That continues to be our preference. But they're the ones that were playing games with us. And these are the consequences. We had to achieve those objectives. We had 3 objectives yesterday: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. We conducted a brilliant military operation under the command of President Trump, and obviously great credit to Secretary Hegseth and General Kurilla and General Kane and all the airmen and the phenomenal people in the U.S. military. No other military in the world could have done this.
No,
We've achieved those objectives. What happens next is up to the regime. Okay, the regime wants peace. We're ready for peace.
Okay.
They want to do something else. They're incredibly vulnerable. They can't even protect their own airspace.
Well, clearly they could not. But what is the U.S. assessment of how much nuclear material at those sites was moved prior to the attack? There has been talk for days about bombing of Fordow.
Well, look, we don't know.
At a certain point, we got to ask ourselves, why was this? What was the goal here then? Because if they, what was the goal here? If they move the enriched uranium away from Fordow, and if you're saying that they're allowed to have a civil nuclear program, and that they wanted to negotiate, and then you guys struck them amidst the negotiation, at a certain point, what's all this for? Therein lies the problem. It's for regime change. Hasanabi should fight Sam Hyde. No, thank you. I do not want to be anywhere near that disgusting pedophile Nazi. Okay? Fucking 40-year-old man still trying to do edgy humor. Incredibly resentful and angry that there are Mexican Americans. I'm good.
No one will know for sure for days, but I doubt they moved it, because you really can't move anything right now. And they can't move anything right now inside of Iran. I mean, the minute a truck starts driving somewhere, the Israelis have seen it and they've targeted it and taken it out. So our assessment is we have to assume that that's a lot of 60% enriched uranium buried deep under the ground there in Esfahan. And that really is the key. What they should do with that is they should bring it out of the ground and turn it over. Multiple countries around the world will take it and downblend it. That's what they should do with that. And what they should do is say, we're not going to have any enrichment capability in our country. Instead, what we're going to have is a civil nuclear program like dozens of countries around the world have, where we build reactors that...
Dude, the needle is going to move away from the nuclear program. If they were to actually successfully take out the entirety of the nuclear program, which they didn't, so they're going to keep saying we have to bomb it more. Or if Iran said, okay, we will no longer have a nuclear program, then they're going to say, you're funding proxy groups in the region, and you have a missile system that is actually threatening our bases that you decided to have a country near, okay? And the ultimate goal is always going to be the same. There's always something else. That's it. They'll just move the goalpost to the next thing. This is not a real negotiation with a state that they want to allow to remain a state. Mohammed Khalil's at the protest. This is what I was supposed to be at. Joins rally outside of Columbia University. A pro-Palestine protester here on a green card who was arrested by ICE and recently released on bail. Despicable.
I'm going to do that again as Mahmoud has come out to honor all of those.
I know the comparison isn't the same, but swap this for any other resource doesn't make sense. Imagine a medieval lord saying another country can't have metal because they can make swords. Yes. Teaser. I have Zohran Mamdani winning the 56th Assembly District, Bedford, by 12% versus Andrew Cuomo in the final round of RCV. That feels a little low. For context, Eric Adams won Bed-Stuy by 28% versus Catherine Garcia. I have Mamdani plus 12. That says something. Demographic change, Zomentum, and Cuomo weakness compared to Adams. Bad day at work? What do you mean? The Pope did do that. Literally said longbows could not be used on fellow Christians. Dude, you don't believe this? Iran sent a communique to Trump in the days before last night's attacks threatening to activate sleeper cell terror. Yeah. Breaking news. I have it on good authority that Iran said, we did 9/11 and we will do it again. That's right. Iran came out and in a private correspondence with Donald Trump said that they were actually responsible for 9/11 and Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and they're willing to do it again. That's what I've heard. Breaking news. Iran sent a communique to Trump in the days before last night's strikes on it. Oh my God. The fucking propaganda machine is going crazy.
Create electricity, and we import enriched material. And we've made very general, I'm not going to get all the details of the offers, but there are other avenues here that would be acceptable to them. If that's what they wanted, if what they want is a civil, peaceful...
I think a lot of young people at least are knowledgeable of 9/11 and the weapons of mass destruction lies to go to war with Iraq. But I don't think they're aware of like the anthrax summer campaigns. You know what I mean? Not the anthrax summer, but like anthrax campaigns.
Nuclear program, the route has always been there. The problem is that everything they're demanding has nothing to do with a peaceful program. They are all the things you would want if you want to retain the option of one day weaponizing the program.
Okay.
Which has been their clear intent. To me, that's indisputable. I followed this issue for 15 years, including the intelligence on it for 15 years. Okay, I have followed it. And the intelligence, these are assessments, and sometimes they've been wrong. I've seen them revised multiple times. These guys want a nuclear weapon one day.
Okay,
They do.
to that point-
And it isn't going to happen. Not while Donald Trump is president.
Understood. You've said this is not about regime change, but you were describing a regime that you have said for decades, I mean, for upwards of 40 years, has chanted death to America, has done all the things you just described. Isn't a diplomatic deal with them a lifeline?
Why does anybody care that he said, bro? I don't care.
Aren't you offering to negotiate with the same people you're saying did all these things? So therefore, are you actually
but that misses the
looking for
point.
regime change?
That misses the point. I don't like that they chant those things, but one thing is that they chant those things. Another thing is that they
BB says he has interesting information about the location of Iran's enriched uranium. You don't say. No. Please link this to me. Please. No shot. No shot. That came way, brother, that came way faster than I thought it would. Prime Minister Israel's interesting intel on whereabouts of Iran's 60% enriched uranium. Israel's interesting intel on the whereabouts of Iran's 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium. That's so shocking. The Iranian regime has its enriched uranium under tunnels, under hospitals, in the Ayatollah's swimming pool, in the Ayatollah's garage. It is under Iranian hospitals and in the cribs of Iranian babies of terror. Israel must do everything it can in its power to stop the terror regime. I have it on good authority that Zoran Mamdani also has the enriched uranium. You must not let Zoran Mamdani become the mayor of New York. If you do, you might find beepers in hospitals. You might find uranium under hospitals and also under kindergartens as well. This is not a threat, but a promise.
Chant those things, and they have terror proxies are all over the world, and they have long-range missiles that can reach the United States one day, and they have the potential to be one step away from a nuclear weapon. Yeah, well, one day could be tomorrow, could be a week from now, could be a month from now. You know, all it takes is the flip of a switch. By the way, they're not going to broadcast that to the world. By the time we figure out...
Iran didn't launch the war. My God, we are living in Orwellian times. Iran had it coming, according to The Atlantic. If the war launched by the rulers of Iran has brought only defeat and humiliation to their country, that does not make those rulers victims of anybody else's aggression. A failed aggressor is still the aggressor. Right move, wrong team by David Frum. It's very frustrating that these guys who very clearly represent the interests of Israel above anything else don't want to fucking live there. I'm so goddamn annoyed. I'm so fucking annoyed. Why do you live here? Go live there if you want to live there. You can easily go and live there. As I've said time and time again, they love white people there. Christian or not. Maybe you'll get spit on in Jerusalem, but outside of that, you're gonna easily live there. It's so frustrating.